Neptune does not invite attention. It exists at a distance where curiosity weakens and patience becomes mandatory. From Earth, it is invisible without instruments, a faint blue suggestion buried among stars. It offers no obvious drama, no rings that blaze in reflected light, no storms easily tracked from backyard telescopes. Neptune is known not because it demanded discovery, but because gravity betrayed it. Long before it was seen, its presence was felt in the subtle deviations of Uranus's orbit. Mathematics found Neptune first. Vision followed reluctantly. That order matters. Neptune is a world revealed not by sight, but by inference. It reminds us that some places in the universe announce themselves only indirectly, through consequences rather than appearances. To journey toward Neptune is to follow evidence outward, trusting calculation over intuition, patience over immediacy. The distance is not intuitive. Neptune orbits the Sun at an average of 30 times Earth's distance. Light takes more than 4 hours to cross that gap. Radio signals crawl across it. Spacecraft must endure more than a decade of transit just to pass by. There is no quick approach, no emergency return. Every decision made en route belongs to a future too distant to intervene indirectly. As a spacecraft moves outward, the solar system thins. The inner planets fall behind quickly, warmth fading first, then familiarity. Jupiter's gravitational dominance briefly asserts itself, bending trajectories, reminding travelers that mass shapes everything. Saturn follows, its rings luminous but fleeting. Uranus appears pale and distant, rolling on its side, already strange. Beyond that, the Sun's authority weakens perceptibly. Solar power dwindles. Heat becomes scarce. Neptune waits in a realm where the Sun is no longer central. By the time Neptune grows distinct, the Sun has shrunk to a bright star. Shadows soften. Illumination flattens. Daylight loses meaning. Neptune does not glow with reflected warmth. It absorbs. It retains. It survives on energy stored deep within itself. Neptune is not a planet with a surface. It is a depth, a descent, a continuous atmosphere extending thousands of kilometers downward, transitioning from gas to fluid to states of matter that defy everyday categories. Hydrogen and helium dominate the upper layers, laced with methane that steals red light and leaves blue behind. The color is not cosmetic. It is diagnostic. It tells us how light is processed, how energy is handled, how chemistry asserts itself in cold regimes. The winds define Neptune before anything else. They move faster than anywhere else in the solar system, reaching speeds that exceed 2,000 kilometers per hour. These winds are not driven primarily by sunlight. There is too little of it. They are powered from within by heat leaking upward from deep interior layers. Neptune is active not because it is warmed, but because it is insulated. Energy trapped long ago continues to circulate, converted into motion. Storms emerge without warning. Dark ovals appear, drift, and vanish. High-altitude clouds of frozen methane streak the sky, bright against deeper blues. Weather here does not obey earthly rhythms. There are no familiar cycles. There is circulation without rest, motion without moderation. Descending deeper, pressure climbs relentlessly. Molecules are compressed into unfamiliar arrangements. Water, ammonia, and methane are thought to form exotic phases, superionic states where atoms behave neither as solids nor liquids. These are not metaphors. They are physical realities that exist only under extreme pressure. Neptune's interior is not hostile in the dramatic sense. It is alien in a quieter way, obeying rules Earth rarely encounters. At the center may lie a rocky core, small relative to the planet's vast envelope, anchoring its gravity. But even this is conjecture. Neptune guards its interior well. We know it primarily through how it moves, how it pulls, how it radiates. Like its discovery, its nature is inferred rather than revealed. Its moons reflect its isolation. Triton dominates them all, orbiting backward, an interloper captured long ago. It is a Kuiper Belt object repurposed by gravity, dragged inward and forced into obedience. Triton's surface is icy, fractured, and surprisingly active. Nitrogen geysers erupt in the weak sunlight, staining the ice dark. Beneath its crust, internal heat lingers. Triton is alive in a limited, fragile sense, and doomed. Neptune's gravity is slowly pulling Triton closer. In the distant future, Triton will be torn apart, forming rings or raining debris into the planet below. Even here, at the edge of the solar system, time works steadily. Capture leads to decay. Stability is temporary. Neptune's rings are faint, incomplete, and difficult to observe. They do not proclaim grandeur. They whisper persistence. Held together by narrow gravitational arrangements and shepherd moons, they exist in a state of constant risk. One disturbance too many, and they will disperse. Neptune tolerates impermanence. Only one spacecraft has ever visited Neptune directly. Voyager 2 passed by in 1989, briefly illuminating the planet with data before continuing outward. That encounter remains our closest conversation with Neptune. Everything since has been observation from afar, interpretation, patience. Voyager did not stop. It could not. There is no orbiting Neptune easily. No lingering without massive fuel costs. Neptune resists intimacy. It allows flybys, not stays. To journey there is to accept transience. You may look, measure, and leave, but you will not remain. Neptune's seasons unfold over decades. A single year lasts 165 Earth years. The planet's axial tilt introduces slow changes in sunlight distribution, but these changes are subtle, stretched across generations. Neptune does not rush to reveal patterns. It requires commitment across lifetimes. Beyond Neptune lies dissolution. The Kuiper Belt scatters debris and ice. Objects drift in loose orbits, remnants of formation never assembled into planets. Beyond that, the Oort cloud fades into interstellar space. Neptune marks the last major coherence of the solar system, a final, organized world before the sun's influence becomes sparse and fragile. Neptune is not the end, but it feels like a boundary. It represents how far structure persists, how far gravity can maintain order before chaos thins everything out. It is the last blue world before darkness dominates. A journey to Neptune is not about arrival. It is about perspective. It is about confronting distance not as a challenge to overcome, but as a condition to respect. Neptune teaches restraint. It teaches that not every world is meant to be engaged closely. Some exist to be acknowledged, not occupied. Neptune does not respond to curiosity. It does not accelerate discovery. It does not adjust itself to be more legible. It remains what it has always been, a cold, dynamic world operating on timescales that dwarf civilizations. It will continue to orbit the sun long after Earth changes beyond recognition. Its storms will rise and fade. Its winds will circulate endlessly. Its moons will shift and decay. Neptune does not preserve history out of intention. It preserves it because nothing interrupts it. To journey to Neptune is to learn that distance is not a problem to solve. It is a truth to accept. That some worlds exist at the edge of our reach, not to be conquered or settled, but to remind us that the universe does not center itself around our pace, our needs, or our attention. Neptune remains blue, cold, unconcerned, and impossibly patient, waiting for nothing, offering everything only to those willing to look from far away and understand that staying was never part of the bargain.